Cherie and Tom Hume, our co-founders, who really started all of this 17 years ago. And I hope that we have met and perhaps even exceeded what you thought this organization might become. It is an extraordinary example of your dedication and foresight and ability to manage and direct this organization over the years, as well as you have the vast majority of nonprofits in this country. And there are hundreds of thousands of them. The vast majority of them fail. And those nonprofits don't, and most nonprofits don't begin to accomplish in the short history what you both have led this organization to accomplish, and every JM family in America and around the world for that matter owes an extraordinary and huge debt of gratitude to the two of you for pulling that off, let alone helping us pull off Walk Strong Across America. But every family in America and around the world owes you a great debt of gratitude for what you have done in founding this organization and leading it to 17 years of success. So with that, over to you, Tom and Shari.
Well, hello, everyone, families, friends, physicians. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Tom and I are going to cover the start of CureJM and the significant progress that's been made thanks to all of you. Sprinkled throughout our talk tonight is the recurring theme that has driven and anchored our lives since the day Parker was diagnosed 18 years ago, and throughout the 17 years that we've volunteered for CureJM, and that is strength in the face of adversity. It is with this strength that we genuinely find ourselves and our true relationships and what is worth standing for. I think all of us remember with clarity the day our child was diagnosed with dermatomyositis, when we heard the words that no parent ever wants to hear. Your child has a rare disease for which there is no known cure. Our son Parker was 4 years old at the time, and he could no longer walk or raise his arms or lift his neck. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with those symptoms. In a 6-month time frame, he had gone from a rambunctious young boy to what the doctor referred to as one step away from paralysis. Despite ultimately hundreds of days in the hospital with aggressive IV treatment, this disease never took away Parker's spirit, resilience, and determination to beat this. Again, I know you guys are very familiar with that as well. His strength in the face of adversity empowered us. Every night I would tuck Parker into bed and I would go up and whisper to him, Parker, we will find the cure. But I have to admit that a few years later, Parker finally came up to me and whispered in my ear and he said, Mom, what does cure mean?
So what we did is over the next few years, we just buried ourselves in research, and we learned what we learned basically in 2002, that research and support groups and awareness seemed really just as rare as JM itself. And so emboldened with this knowledge and inspired by Parker's watching his own strength and his courage in the face of his adversity, we joined forces with other families like you. And thankfully we founded CureJM, and we were fueled by just our hope, our purpose, our passion. And so that same, in the face of adversity was coming forth again. And it's funny, Jim mentioned how the success of nonprofits, and we heard that very early on, that most nonprofits fail or stall within the first few years, and yet we knew we had to keep going, and the stakes were just too high.
Yeah. So working on this organization 24/7 in the beginning with young kids would shake us to the core, but we were determined to give a voice to the voiceless, stand up for those who could not stand, and show strength for those who did not have physical strength, but clearly had more internal strength than we could ever hope to have. So we literally started at our kitchen table, hand-folding brochures and manually entering patient information. We created the website, garnered media attention, and started holding every type of fundraiser possible from lemonade stands to garage sale to jogathons, baseball fundraisers, and then the ultimately famous Pennies for Parker, which thankfully you probably haven't heard of. Don't ever do this, because we collected pennies at Parker School and didn't realize how much pennies weigh when you get a lot of them. And so the school got behind this fundraiser. I went to pick up the pennies, and I had to bring many, many rolling suitcases to take them from the school. Then when I took them to the bank said, oh, you have to count the pennies. We can't take them, and you have to roll them into rolls. And so then we had to buy a coin counter from Craigslist. And then we realized we had $2,000 worth of pennies, so 200,000 pennies. Yeah, so my suggestion is, if you're going to do coin collecting, definitely do dollars.
Do dollars,
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, so we've partnered with other like-minded families and let them know that they weren't alone, and collaborated with clinicians and pioneers in research, and thankfully many of them had already adopted our disease, our rare disease. And we were able to establish critical momentum in our early years with establishing a center of excellence, and then also funding the first book ever on JM, myositis in you. And we also began hosting educational forums for families. And I'm very happy to say we've had 13 patient conferences to date. And it's also, we've created new resources for newly diagnosed families, videos, welcome kits, established support groups, and a whole advocacy networks of friends and teens, and of course, our very important grandparents. CureJM's provided guidance for families in navigating the healthcare system and insurance and even schools. And we've actually been on the receiving end of certain guidance, because early on, when Cherie would take our 3 boys to the hospital, she'd try to keep it fun and entertaining. And so all the boys would climb onto Parker's IV pole, and we'd be running him up and down the hallway of the hospital on his IV pole, rolling along, which the hospital shortly after that established a rule that can't happen anymore. So the Children's Hospital kind of shut us down on that fun. But,
yeah, we single-handedly changed the rules at the hospital.
Yeah.
So we were not appreciated there sometimes. Over the past 17 years, CureJM has continued to grow exponentially thanks to you, our dedicated team of CureJM families, friends, and researchers. A few examples of the accelerated progress that you have profoundly impacted. From a handful of research studies back in 2003, you have helped us raise over $16 million and support over 175 research studies and establish 4 CureJM Centers of Excellence. From a very limited number of treatments, the therapeutic options have vastly increased. Because of your support, CureJM is investing and progressing in drug development and repurposing initiatives, as well as genomic discovery. From nowhere for families to turn for support back in 2003, CureJM now provides resources and connections for 3,000 families in 45 countries. From little awareness of this disease a long time ago, children are now getting diagnosed faster, with the average diagnosis time reduced by 4 months.
and we had great momentum because of you coming into 2020, and then adversity struck again, and we all had to confront COVID-19. Now, our first and foremost concern when this came along was, how would COVID affect our children with JM? But the board and our amazing staff worked diligently to get factual information out to the JM community regarding COVID, and even more importantly, establish protections for our kids' supply of their necessary drugs. So, but as COVID continued on, and is continuing on, you know, there was a panic moment. We realized this could potentially be devastating from a fundraising standpoint, due to canceling our signature Walk Strong events that have become well established in many different cities throughout the country. But once again, in the face of adversity, this team jumped into action and developed a plan for Walk Across America. And once again, in the face of this adversity, you guys did it. You did it throughout this past month, finishing up this weekend. As Jim said, the initial goal was 600,000. You know, we're getting almost up to 700,000 because we actually had a stretch goal. I think we're probably about 75,000 away from even the stretch goal. So thanks to all of you, because you've transformed 2020 into a landmark year for us.
Yeah, amazing. I think we could all use a little less adversity in our lives, but adversity also shows to ourselves and to the world what we are made of. It shows our character and our values and what we stand for. Your kids fighting JM with great courage are the driving force and the inspiration behind everything we do at Cure JM. They ignite us daily with unwavering hope and resolve in our relentless pursuit of a cure. Cure JM is powered by people like you with passion and a purpose, leading us to great progress and believing that truly anything is possible. So thank you for playing such a vital role. Powered by all of you, we are confident that one day we can say the words that Parker and all of you and your children want to hear. We have found a cure, and we look forward to celebrating that day with all of you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you for the kind introduction, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. And this has really been such an amazing year in so many ways, and it's just amazing how Cure JM has really been able to make lemonade out of these lemons we've been handed. It's really a great privilege and honor to be here today, and I'm so thrilled to congratulate Cure JM leadership and families on the great success of this year's fundraising efforts. And year after year after year after year, the resilience and power of Cure JM patients and families has been really a true inspiration for me. And it really continues to fuel my dedication and passion for this field of juvenile myositis. So as mentioned earlier by Tom, I was previously, I have received funding and support from Cure JM in the past. And that was when, in my previous career, when I was at Boston Children's Hospital, and it helped fuel an early translational project. And about 4 years ago, family situation and work changes in my family led me to UCSF, where I was a little bit bummed because I was at Boston for so long and really had gotten used to my environment and things there. But moving to UCSF was really, really serendipitous because I partnered up with a very, very enthusiastic trainee whose passion for JDM research was also sparked and begun. And that's, if you guys have looked at the website too, that's Dr. Jessica Neely. And over the past 4 years, we've partnered together in the study and the care of juvenile myositis patients and developed a translational program here at UCSF. With this work, Cure JM awarded Dr. Neely with the first major fellowship funding from Cure JM, which is geared towards supporting young investigators like her and the next generation of researchers and clinicians for juvenile myositis, which is so vital to future and ongoing care and progress in our field. Dr. Neely is currently working on a new project, a new major project that is also supported by Cure JM using computational artificial intelligence with big data. Big data is like a big word out there, but really making strides to fill the many gaps of knowledge around what we don't understand in juvenile myositis. And because of this funding, we've been able to recruit and retain Dr. Neely to continue this work at UCSF. And she's really a bright superstar, and it's only because of Cure JM's multi-year support. And you guys really made this possible. Really innumerable advancements in JM research and clinical improvements in care has been supported by Cure JM over the past 17 years or so. And it's just amazing what you've done so far. I can't wait to see what the next 17 years shows and what the next 71 years show. And I just want to congratulate you all and thank you for the time.
Hi, everybody. Hope you can hear me. I'm Susan Shenoi, and I'm an assistant professor and interim division chief at Seattle Children's, and I've been there since 2011. I have to say, Tom and Cherie, that was really touching. It's amazing to hear that, you know, a lemonade stand and pennies for Parker can move such mountains. I have to say, it's really, really touching. We at Seattle Children's have been very fortunate and blessed to receive some of this funding through the CureJM Foundation. And about a year and a half ago, we opened the third Myositis Center of Excellence at Seattle Children's Hospital. Seattle Children's is a large pediatric research hospital, and we partner with the world-class University of Washington. I am very fortunate that I get to look after, and I'm the physician at the myositis clinic at Seattle Children's. One of our goals really with this funding is to train our large pediatric rheumatology staff, and also, like you heard Dr. Kim say, train the next generation of fellows, residents, and medical students in looking after and treating juvenile myositis kids. A lot of the funding that we received from CureJM was also used to help groundbreaking research in our partner lab that is run by Dr. Christian Lude at the University of Washington. And he studies the role of mitochondria in chronic JM and is doing some fantastic research. Hopefully it'll catapult the field of myositis research tremendously. Because of the CureJM's foundation funding, we were able to recruit him to be part of our clinic and part of our center, which is fantastic. You know, none of this would have been possible without the support from all of you. And I just want to say thank you. It really warms my heart to hear how all of this started. And I'm very fortunate to be part of this passionate group.
My name's Ann Reed. I am a pediatric rheumatologist and immunologist. I have been working in the field of juvenile dermatomyositis, I hate to admit it, for almost 30 years now. I knew Cherie and Tom way back in the day, right? When all this started. I really got interested in trying to understand so much more about this condition and to start working in the areas of genetics was some of the early work that I did to really understand what genes are involved with the disease. And then really kind of transitioned a lot of my work and to what I do today, which is really looking at markers that really help us decide how someone's going to, you know, behave to medicines, how, you know, someone's going to be in the long-term outcome, and can we predict that so that we can have more targeted abilities to treat. I've had funding from the National Institutes of Health, as well as CureJM and other foundations, like I say, for almost 30 years now, to be able to study and us to understand more about what's happening with juvenile myositis. You know, one of the things that I'd like to do tonight is just to share a little bit of the historical perspective. You've already heard some from Cherie and Tom, but from a physician side, just to share a little bit, you know, being involved when in 2003 the foundation started, it's been amazing to watch this progress occur. It's just really been amazing to go from an area where everybody sort of did their thing and it wasn't really based on a lot of fact or data. We didn't have a lot of information to say, how should we be treating patients? What kind of protocols should we use? We, you know, we're, you know, been able to support and have developed the book on myositis, right? Myositis in You. It's been just amazing to watch that happen. To develop the medical advisory board, which has been able to help advise CureJM on what kind of research, what kind of support should they be giving to, whether it's trainees, whether it's certain kinds of research. So it's just really wonderful to see that occur. And also to see the about 175 different research projects that have been supported. That's amazing if you think about it. That's a lot of work that's gone on, and it's all because of you, because of the work that you all have done to be able to support that going on. And I think specifically, I want to call out the fact that there's support to be able to have people continue and train. The people who spoke ahead of me are junior to me in terms of age. And so it's really important to me to see that there's other people that have a passion to study dermatomyositis and to figure out what the cure is going to be and to be able to care for patients. And so it's really wonderful to see CureJM continue and support those individuals. Also, the funding has supported these centers of excellence, and now there's 4 centers, correct? There's Lurie's Children's, there's Seattle, there's George Washington in DC, Washington, DC, and then Duke is the 4th. And I think for us, what this has allowed us to do is to actually we have 3 what we consider experts in juvenile myositis at our institution. And it allows us to really look at everything about a patient in terms of my work, in terms of markers of disease activity, Kaveh Arlan, who's really looking at behavioral and mental health effects, you know, what's happened to children who've had the condition. And then Jeff DeVersten, who's really gone into the laboratory to look at what we call metabolomics, look at a lot of the changes that are going on in the way your energy is in the body. And it allows us now to have a very comprehensive look at dermatomyositis and to be able to care for patients. And so I just think you all should be incredibly proud of this. I mean, this is really amazing. And as has been said before, so many foundations don't make it, and you have made it with gold stars. I mean, you've done an amazing job overall. And it's because of you, all this progress. And so really it's you saying yes to believing in the mission and contributed. So congratulations. And I'm so thankful to be part of this. And I'm so proud to see everything that's come on.
Thank you, Anne. I appreciate that so much. And I'm going to come back in a couple of minutes with a couple of closing remarks. But I think we have a short kind of celebratory video with some videos and shots of really what occurred yesterday in Walk Strong Across America. that gives a pretty good snapshot of just how big and exciting this event was from coast to coast. And, I think we're looking forward to doing it all again next year. In terms of what this means for CureJM, and Tom and Shari touched upon this a little bit, and you heard, of course, from 3 of our most distinguished researchers. But I think it means that, among other things, your board of directors can remain very secure in knowing that we have the revenue for our long-term commitments. Those would be commitments to multi-year research projects. Many projects can't be started and finished in 1 year, and we have to make commitments, really with the intention that, and belief that we know we will be able to raise the money to maintain or retain those commitments. And our success in this campaign certainly means that we can do that. We have $1.4 million in commitments outstanding that have to be paid prior to next June of 2021. And so this $675,000, hopefully $750,000 will go a long way to making sure that we have the revenues to be able to honor those commitments. We also will have any number of new projects to be considering in our next grant cycle. So we'll be adding additional commitments on top of those, fundraising staying as strong as it has been, and the intention that and expectation that it will. And for those of you who were on some of our recent calls, you've learned about some of the great progress that we've made in identifying biomarkers, for example, as predictors of flares, or the great progress that we've made at NCATS, at NIH, National Center for Advancing Translational Sciences, in the identification of some 24 JAK inhibitors and other potential drug inhibitors that have great promise in treating juvenile dermatomyositis, and which also need to be moved into small human clinical trials, especially for those drugs and those inhibitors that can be used off-label. They're already approved by the FDA for other indications, and possibly and hopefully can be added to the repertoire of drugs that are currently in use for this disease. Anne mentioned that Duke is now our 4th clinic. I know that many members of our board, including Tom and Shari, and I also want to mention Suzanne Edison, who is the co-chair of our research committee, are very focused on our ability to expand the quality of care in areas around the country, which we would like to better serve in order to reach more families around the country. We have a number of new institutions that we've brought on in recent years. There are a number of candidate institutions that I think are sort of on the short list, if you will, for additional support from CureJM, and that's very much what the future holds for us as we look to our ability to fund the improvement of quality care at those institutions, as well as research, not only in the U.S. but in Europe and the United Kingdom, where we've also been funding programs for many years. You also have seen that many of our webinars over this past year have been attended by many of you, and they're highly popular. And in this era of COVID-19, we also know that these webinars will be critical for vehicles for us to reach you effectively, and for our clinicians and our researchers to reach you effectively with outcomes of their research and with medical guidance and information that is critical for you and your families. We anticipate doing many more of these in the future, and really expanding the whole areas of medical science and juvenile dermatomyositis that we'd like to be covering. The next one is coming up July 26th, and actually Dr. DeBergston and Dr. Ardalan will be doing this on predictors of flare. So please put that on your calendar, and it's our intention to be doing one of these webinars a month across the country, as we believe, until we're able to begin to meet again, to hold conferences again, for chapters to meet again. This will be the best way for CureJM to be reaching all of you with information that's critical to your families and your loved ones' health. The success of this program means that we can remain our trajectory, and that we can do even more for CureJM families than we've ever done before. So the impact of what you have done over this past month cannot be understated. We were very worried that COVID-19 could really halt our progress for some unknown period of time. We needn't have worried. We now know that we have the resources we need to move forward, that we have every reason to believe our fundraising programs will be successful moving forward, and that we'll be able to continue to expand the effectiveness of this organization, to bring more docs into our universe of medical professionals, to bring more children's hospitals into our universe of those that are supported by CureJM, and to bring more families in. It's a doable goal for us to have every JM family in the United States involved in this organization, and we can do that, and families deserve that kind of support from us, and you've made that happen. Well, congratulations to all of you. Onward. I look forward to hearing from any of you. You all know my email. Please feel free to reach out to me or to any members of our staff. Partnering with all of you, there's nothing we can't accomplish. So thank you all.